Welcome, everyone, to a very special episode of Born for the Trades, a home service podcast with me, your co-host, Shreya, and your host, Mandeep, where we bring you insightful interviews with the top leaders and experts in the industry. Today, we have the honor of sitting down with one of the most influential and respected figures in the home service industry today, Ken Goodrich, the CEO of Goettl Air Conditioning. This was an entirely organic conversation off the record at True Grit in person that we did with Ken, and we all decided it was just too valuable not to share with you guys, so you're in for a treat. Ken, with over 3 decades of experience in building and growing successful home service businesses, Ken has become a household name in the industry. He has transformed Goettl Air Conditioning into one of the most reputable and reliable home service companies. And it's really known for its exceptional customer service, emotionally intelligent branding, and innovative solutions.
In this special in-person interview, Ken Goodrich will share his wealth of knowledge and insights, taking us on a journey from his humble beginnings to the top of the industry. He will share his experiences and lessons learned, discussing the challenges and opportunities he faced along the way. He will also provide us with a glimpse into the future of the home service industry and what it takes to build a successful business in ever-evolving landscape. So sit back, relax, and join us as we delve into the mind of one of the industry's most successful and respected leaders. This is an episode that you won't want to miss.
Awesome. I did the sit back and relax. Join us as we dive deep into the world of home service entrepreneurship, interacting with industry leaders, coaches, and entrepreneurs about their experiences, challenges, and victories. Through their inspiring stories, we hope to equip our listeners with the tools and knowledge they need to succeed in the competitive home service industry. So whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, tune in to Born for the Trades podcast for invaluable insight and real-world inspiration.
It is interesting though. So a couple of times recently, like I was at a photo shoot yesterday, and then I was at a video recording, several weeks ago. And so they're watching me talk about all this stuff. Mm-hmm. And just like the camera guy came up to me, he goes, "Man, I'm not a part of this, but I just love your story and it gives me hope and possibility." Yeah. But the interesting thing was, to your point, the younger people at these photo shoots, they were just waiting for every word I'm saying, completely focused on me and telling me how much I inspired them. And it made me realize they don't get a lot of that.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Their frame of reference on being successful is what you see on the phone.
Exactly. That's 100%.
Also, so directly. Like, that's why, with what we do, the fact that we get to talk to these people directly in person is unbelievable. Like in the trades, how people go to these events and they get to talk to you in person. Mm-hmm. Like, what other industry do they have that sort of mentorship process, right? And the personal access to these people that are willing to help. They especially have no excuse to not be billionaires because of that too.
Yeah, exactly.
Who else?
One-on-one coaching, whatever you need, whatever the challenges they have been going through.
Yeah.
It's everyone is helping here. So.
Yeah, but it's also a handicap in a way because sometimes too much support atrophies. Right. It's like you have too much support and your muscles aren't strong. You guys had to build that, and it builds a lot of character. If you have a little too much support, then you rely on support instead of yourself. So that might be the reason why too.
Yeah, I do think that the reason why I tell my story of the IRS and all this stuff was because I want to be relatable to the audience that I've been there. Like, right. I've been through the fire and back. And but my concern is that no great success doesn't come without the challenge, right?
Without the challenge, right?
It's born from the challenge.
It's born from the challenge. And so,
Oh my gosh.
Not a lot of challenge,
yeah.
It was so uncomfortable for me to share my story yesterday. But like after so many years, I was for the first time I shared my story in front of everyone. It was uncomfortable,
Yeah.
but I shared those challenges that I have gone through in my life. But it made me stronger every single day.
I was forced to do that recently
And
too.
and
Because people are like, well, I'm not like you. I'm not charismatic like you, so I can't do what you do. The excuses come. I'm not like Ken. You know, he's so sharp and he's like this. Well, he built that. He studied that. He learned that, right, from people. And I can't truly help them if they don't believe that I'm like them, right? If they don't believe that I was like them at a certain point, then I can't truly help them. So I have to, kind of thing. Absolutely.
absolutely. All right.
I mean,
I know that's what you.
yeah.
just-
Maybe we can use that. We'll send
I think we can take
Let's get
from
natural,
the
yeah.
natural as well.
This is already organic.
This is all
This-
organic.
The
Yeah.
conversation, but I really like the topics and questions. So we'll see.
But I think, you know, if you don't have struggle, right? If you didn't, most struggle is self-fulfilling, right? Self-created by yourself, right?
Right.
But if you don't really have that, the real struggle is what I kept bringing up in this room, which is everything is there for you. You just have to show up. And the show up is called discipline. And you have to fight through the challenges of discipline to be able to accomplish what you want to accomplish. And maybe that's the struggle. Maybe it doesn't have to be, you know, the horrible story
Yeah.
that I
Right.
had.
Right.
Maybe it's just like, it was so challenging for me to get through the discipline to get it
Internally.
implemented and get it.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was thinking about this morning coming over here, like, I just think about all the conversations I have in my own head every day, negotiating with myself.
Right. Right.
Like this morning, I was in Scottsdale this morning. I flew from Scottsdale here to come here. And I was out at Tommy Mello's birthday party
Yeah,
last night.
Oh,
late.
you were there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I was going to get up, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to get up at 6, and then I'm going to walk 5 miles and get sharp,
Mm.
and then I'm going to go there. And then I'm negotiating at 6 a.m. I'm negotiating with myself
Mm-hmm.
whether I really need to walk, and, you know, and the devil won because I didn't walk,
Right.
you know.
Yeah, I didn't see a post up on the.
Yeah.
Right.
So, you know, I think, you know, those are important topics for people to think about.
Right.
Does your influence on people help your discipline? Like knowing that a lot of people are looking at you as an example, does that help you with the negotiation of whether you're going to do something or not?
It does. It does. And I like had that was part of my negotiating this morning. I'm like, well, maybe they'll give me credit that I had this speaking engagement and had to get on a plane, but it's still not right. But I'm telling you, the reason why I agreed to put that walking thing up is so I will feel a sense of
Right.
Accountability.
Accountability. But what's the first thing I would say, like, you know, when you wake up in the morning, like what drives you the most? Like, you know, every single day, what's that thing?
It hasn't changed over the years.
Right.
I think, you know, from a very young age, well, let me back up and say this. I was trained to be an entrepreneur. My dad was an entrepreneur, and he trained me to be an entrepreneur, and not in not so nice of ways, but it was, you know, he taught me how to be self-sufficient. And when I was growing up as a kid, you know, I worked all the time. I didn't have much of a childhood because, you know, I was either on the roofs with him fixing air conditioners through the
Right.
summer, or we were doing some yard work project on our 2-acre yard that we had, right?
Right.
And people would always say, like, I'd go to service calls to his house, and I'd go to service calls to people's house with him, and they would say, "Why are you so hard on Ken?" And he'd say, "Because if I don't teach him anything, I'm going to teach him how to make a good living in life," right?
Right.
So a lot of this stuff and this, the way that I think and the way I go about things really stems from that. And, you know, a sense of responsibility that's been instilled in me since I was a young kid.
Actually,
since that. Yeah.
that goes into one of the questions. Is you use the phrase "the power of scorch the earth,"
Uh-huh.
right? Does that have any relevancy to that when it comes to branding your story? How people buy emotionally and connecting all those things together? Can you explain that phrase a little bit more?
Well, when I use scorched earth, it's kind of like, when we come into a market, we're just going to way overspend to get our brand out and try to get it in the skulls of the community, right?
Subconscious.
And we are storytellers. So the first ad that I did up on stage is our foundational story.
Right.
And interesting enough, that story really gets in people's heads, right?
Right.
Like nothing I've ever seen.
I could probably repeat the story. No, because it cuts so deep. Not even because I've heard it so many times, which sure, because I've watched a lot of your podcasts and stuff, but because it does produce a real emotional response, especially for people that were born for the trades, that grew up in the trades, where like I feel a connection to that when you say that, and I know how that feels to do that kind of work with your family, and then to grow up, and then to continue to do that work and give back to that community. It's emotional, absolutely.
Yeah, it's interesting, and I'm getting a little off topic here, but it's interesting how I seem to always come back full circle, right?
Mm.
So I started holding the flashlight for my dad,
Right.
and shining on a Goettl unit, and now I own Goettl,
Right.
right? I get in trouble, and someone gives me the E-Myth book. Now,
Right.
I write a book with him, and I'm writing 2 more with him as we speak.
Oh, two more books coming?
Yeah, so the E-Myth plumber and the E-Myth electrician.
Beautiful.
That is awesome.
Do you have an approximate time when that would be released? Or...
Well, our goal that I set was to have them out by April 1st, but I'm running behind.
Okay, because I'd like to add that to our packages, like all 3 of those books to send out to the contractors. We do that anyway, so.
That will be amazing to share with the contractors. That's gonna be value added.
Yeah, so let's just say by the end of Q2,
Okay,
I'll have them out.
awesome.
So it's going to be the same as it's going to be the 8th book, but more specific to the different trades. And I'm not an electrician. I mean, I've never had electrical business,
Right.
even though I'm qualified. But the electrician, I'm going to write how I'm going to start electrical business.
Right.
So it'll be more like a textbook, if you will, where they can say,
Right.
I'm starting from nothing because I'm going to start electrical roll-up.
Right. Because it has been always like HVAC and plumbing. So what makes you drive that you want to start with electrical? Like what's the thing behind it that you're going for the electrical division now?
I just love the game,
Love that.
I love the game of business and figuring out. I love creating the teams and watching them grow and flourish, and I like to see them be successful.
Since we're talking about this niche, electrical, so question goes back to, I've heard you say that Goettl was looked at as a tech company, though you're like plumbing and HVAC company. What does that mean, an HVAC company, a tech company?
With the phrase.
A couple years into our first PE sponsor, which is Bond Capital, I met this guy, Stephen Gurley, who works with me today.
Mm.
But so he, we're at a meeting, he's describing how he is working with companies and taking them to a business that tech enables companies, okay? Tech enables.
Okay.
And I said, what does that mean? He said, well, he said, they get the old guy in the business and they lock him in a room and they whiteboard the whole business, okay? Here's how it works. Here's how it works today. Here's how he thinks it should work, all the details. And then they build a tech stack around the business so that, the business is driven by your software, right?
Right.
And because of that, he says they get, several more turns of multiples when they're selling the business, and or valued on revenue instead of profits.
Got it.
So it's called tech enabled. And so I was thinking, well, we should tech enable something in our business, right? And so I went out and found an app that was would connect to air conditioning systems and measure their performance and such.
Yeah.
And then I went out and had that company make us a proprietary workflow inside that software, only for us. And then we called it Digital Duncan, after my dad, who was the greatest air conditioning tech that ever lived. And now everybody can have the greatest air conditioning tech that ever lived in their home with our app.
With that app.
Even
And so-
that app has the emotional branding that connects to your family.
Yeah, it does.
Absolutely.
And so, now we can take technicians, newer technicians, and be able to have them perform like senior technicians because they have the tool.
Right.
That's the tool. And
From your perspective, leads are drying up,
right.
and I can't tell if it's increased competition or some market condition. What do you believe?
I would say most of the reason what I look at is there are companies every single day. There are new companies are coming out in the field. They are starting their HVAC, plumbing, electrical. The demand is high right now, and the supply is less. And Google is like distributing the call volume. Now it's getting less to these companies, and which is happening.
So, which will require you to be better blocking and tackling, very efficient, make sure that you execute on a very high level, and don't be so dependent on digital marketing.
Right. And there are
Sorry about that.
No, it was a perfect question. And I think there are ways to actually create more demand in advance, because this is already happening. The way to do is like micro videos and doing content and using database reactivation, reaching out to your existing customers, doing SMS blast, email marketing. And with the help of AI tools, those are available in the market.
Yeah, I would say the fundamental of the Goettl brand, which is done extremely well everywhere we go, is about connecting human to human, right?
Right.
And so it's more difficult, and that's through audio, through the radio. It's much more difficult in what you do, but you're right with the videos. But really the theme of the videos need to be about a connection human to human.
Human to human, right. Exactly. Like if a customer, I need your perspective on that. If a technician is going out and once the job is done, what do you think if a video testimonial, 15-second video testimonial from a customer on their approval, if they get it and publish on different social media platforms, run ads, how powerful it will be? What do you think on that?
I think it would be great if they cry in the video.
I've had lots of people cry at the end of the calls about, because you're telling their life story. Usually we're not talking about the technical.
I think that, we got to test it, right? We have to test it. And I think, obviously reviews and testimonials seem to run the internet. So certainly worth a try. Just seems to fall short of what I was describing in terms of human connection, a story.
Yeah.
Really, stories win the day, right?
Right.
Yes.
Right.
I kind of have a question about the AI, because from the perspective of, I'm assuming some of the listeners and the people in the trades that maybe they're a little bit more old school. Our first thought is, well, are robots going to take our jobs type of thing? Like, where is the line, in your opinion, with AI and human connection? Is service going to be eliminated human to human? Is that the right thing? Or should people, because I think they might have a natural fear about something like this, or some people in certain positions might have a natural excitement about something like this. So what's your opinion about that?
It's scary to me, I grew up with the Terminator movie, right?
Right.
And it's literally playing out right in front of me, exactly how they described
Right.
it. It's playing out, right?
Right.
So it's scary to me, and I don't know how it all shakes out.
Yeah.
You think about a big part of our business is our contact center. How many humans that we employ, families that we take care of through our contact centers, hundreds of people. And I don't know, feels wrong, we're gonna eliminate that.
Right.
And I don't know, as we continue to streamline the analog world to a digital world, what does the human being do?
Right.
I was talking to some guys today about the Service Titan auto dispatch thing.
Auto dispatch.
I don't know what they call it, but it has its limitations.
Right.
And it seems to me that right now you still need somebody watching it, but what it does is it widens your span of control. So one person can look after a lot more text currently, but when that goes away, we've taken the human element out of it. I'm not sure where it's going to go. It personally scares me.
Right.
Right.
Just your opinion on it.
And I know Shreya asked this question, so I have one question related to, since we're talking about human beings. What do you think? We talk about hard skills versus soft skills. What do you think about having empathy in the company? What's the biggest role of having empathy in the business and having in the employees?
Well, one, I think it's extremely important for what we do. I mean, and the way that I describe it to our people is, one, most of these people this is a big stress situation when they have an HVAC problem or a plumbing problem, and some of them are really terrible, right? So empathy is extremely important in that manner. Another thing is, and I just recently started to really discuss this with my team, which is you have to understand that these people are trusting us with their hard-earned money, and most people don't have any extra money. And most people don't have any extra money to pay for an HVAC repair or a plumbing repair because no one really plans for that, right?
Right.
And so, empathizing with a customer is trusting you with their family's dollars, which they probably don't have enough of to take care of it, how important that is. Another thing is just the empathy between everybody on the team.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
Now, I'll say this. I wasn't raised like that. My dad was came out of the Depression era.
Mm-hmm.
And so, they're different people. They were hard people. Their backs were against the wall and they had to fight for everything that they got to eat and to survive. And so, there was less empathy, I guess, back then. And so it's been a learned thing. I guess the point I'm getting at is I learned it through trial and error and watching people and understanding their feelings. And I think it's important that certainly every leader of anything needs to understand that.
The emotional
intelligence piece of
yes.
that. Love that.
And I will tell you that my EQ continues to climb every day because I work on it. But had I not worked on it, I might have been a little harder man.
So it's a learned skill for you.
Yeah.
Which is that's also something that a lot of people might say that I just don't have that. I just don't have that. And you're saying that was kind of a learned skill for you because business is people and you have to know people to do business. Is that kind of
it's really pretty easy. It's put yourself in their shoes.
Right.
How would you feel about being treated like that?
Right.
It's interesting to this point. So now, I've always been in charge. I just kind of always find myself in charge. Well, in these latest PE deals, I have people to answer to.
Right.
And some of the PE people that I deal with, not anybody in particular now, but that I've dealt with over the years, I watch how they act, and they acted like I've acted to other people in the past, and I'm embarrassed. And I look at it and go, now I know what it feels like.
Right.
To be talked to like that or disrespected like that or to be marginalized like that. And so now, that I guess it's putting myself into new positions that I wouldn't otherwise be in to understand like I said, putting your feet, walking a mile in their shoes.
Right.
And so it is interesting to me. I'm watching this play out, dealing with bigger investors and bigger people and how they act and treat me, and can relate it to some of the mistakes I've made over the years.
Wow. And another question, just because I hear it so much and I'm thinking about the people listening, is, with the trend of private equity over the pandemic and the multiples going so high and skyrocketing, and it being a really, really good time in private equity and home services right now because it's recession proof, and they realize that, right? Is what kind of advice would you give to businesses about acting on these things? Because for some people it might be scary. There's a lack of education, and there's a fear of being taken advantage of from the tradesmen by the big businesses, kind of thing. But then it might be the opportunity of their lives as well. So kind of what's your advice on the path to utilizing this experience that they're going through right now?
Well, I liken this situation to the gold rush, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And you got the guys that ran out first and claimed the mines and made a bunch of money, and then you got all the followers come in and try to get their piece, and then you got the people coming in selling the shovels and the wheelbarrows or whatever they sold, and the jeans. That's kind of where we're at. So, you don't get these opportunities so very often. They come up here and there, but when they come, you have to be ready to seize them because, I heard it described recently as the window's open, still open, but it's going to shut.
It's going to shut.
And I've been involved in every one. I've had 6 transactions in my career. And every time that window opened up, I like those big checks. I like building the business and monetizing it and then sitting back and say, okay, what's my next play? I never was in this to run long-term business. I believe that I've got myself into where I'm a business builder.
Right.
And I build to sell. And so every time these opportunities came up, I jumped in and did it.
Okay.
And this is the biggest and best one I've seen. And I think this one is going to change the industry as we know it.
Yeah.
It's going to increase the competition. It's going to put a challenge on, the former leaders of the industry in terms of as these businesses scale and there's more investment dollars put in there, they're going to bring outside people in as the leadership.
Yeah.
And so,
Is that what you do?
us guys that kind of made it up on our own over the years, we might not have a place in the current roles that we have enjoyed over the years. Not that I'm afraid of it, it's just the natural order of things as you grow.
Love that. Thanks for sharing. And one question goes back, let's say, the companies, home service industry, they want to, part of this PE deals. At what stage do you think that they should plan out, their exit criteria or PE deals? At what stage of their business?
Well, the businesses, they trade on multiple of EBITDA, and I'll just list for this conversation, say their profit, right?
Yeah.
Right, profit.
So, you got to have substantial profit to get these PE guys interested. There's guys that are interested in, you got to be careful because there's a lot of guys who are they don't really have the financial resources and they don't really have the business acumen to be rolling up, but they're going and getting smaller businesses. Some of them may not even be making any money, but they're getting their claws in them to try to roll up some meaningful revenue and flip it. But the only one that's going to suffer in that deal is the original owners.
Right.
So you got to be really careful. And so I would say, set your sights on driving a business to over $1 million in profits. 2 is better, 4 is better. But if you can get a routine business where you show yourself making at least $1 million, at least you can be in the game. And
Right.
you can be in the game with a established, real partner that is going to do it right, and it's not going to be just some sort of I call them house flippers,
Right.
just junk, just flip a bunch of junk. You follow me?
Yes,
Right.
yes, absolutely.
It's not to really build, and maybe they don't have experience in home services. Is that common in that situation?
Yeah, well, most of the PE groups don't.
Right.
Don't typically, not that it's not that difficult to learn, but I would say there's a group of investors, if you will call them, that aren't really a traditional PE firm where they have a fund and then they part the fund out to particular investments to grow and help management grow. There's a lot of them out there now who they just want to get control and they don't provide any leadership. They don't provide any synergies. They don't provide any purchasing power. It's just like, go grow the business and we'll sell it one day.
They're not building.
Especially not even the processes, right? Not in place.
No processes yet. Or if they are, it's kind of like, who's the best guy in the group and copy him.
Right.
Not a real organized effort.
Right. And one last question I wanted to ask. I know I was watching you on the stage today, and you mentioned that when you were going all full circles when you were acquiring Goettl, I wanted to ask you what was like, how was emotionally challenging for you at that time when you were buying Goettl?
Well, I'll tell you this: my wife didn't want me to buy it, and I had sold. We had done very well over the years with my transactions in the business and such, and she didn't really want me to do it and wanted me to kind of wind down. I just, let me back up and say this. My dad died when I was 25. I bought the family business from my mom. My dad, when he died, he wrote a letter to my mom that started with, "Do not give Ken anything. He is to buy, if he wants to buy the business, he is to buy it. And here's the list of equipment, and here's what it's worth, and here's what he should pay, and go to the lawyer and get a promissory note written and file UCC ones on all the equipment, and if he misses a payment, take it back." Okay, that was what the letter said. Which, like I said, even from the grave, he was building character. Yeah. And back then I was not happy about it, but now I really appreciate it.
Of course.
But where was I going with that? What was your question?
My question was like how emotionally challenging for you during that
or
phase.
just what was that like? Even a positive emotional way to
Well, so where I was going was, so I get the business and no one will sell me anything because I'm 25 and probably because I had a mullet.
A nice one.
Yeah. And so, except Goettl.
Yeah.
Goettl stepped up and said, "We'll sell you equipment." Okay.
Right.
And then the manager at that branch, he used to own a contracting business and I was struggling. And he said, "Here, I'm going to give you my old customer list." And back then it was a little tin box of 3x5 file cards, handwritten. That was the database.
Wow.
That was the database.
And I'd take the database, and if I didn't have calls, I'd go back in the sheet metal shop and I'd pull some cards out and I'd call customers and ask them if they needed a tune-up.
Interesting. Wow.
So anyway.
I mean, the silence is for the listeners, like, you know what they're feeling right now.
Yeah.
Like, man, what's my excuse?
Yeah. And so Goettl, not only, my dad, it was a key part of my career growing up, but, they extended a hand, at a time of need and helped me through it. And so I try to pay them back by, being loyal to their business, but they stopped making the air conditioners in 2007.
2007.
And so, we had went into other manufacturers. But then when they came on the market and I found out that they were at jeopardy of failing, I just felt it was my duty. It was my duty to try to save that brand. Now, did I have the vision that to see it where it is today? No. I didn't think I just didn't think about it in that terms, but what I did was I took that brand legacy, added my story into it, and something about that magic just exploded that business. I mean, we knew how to run it,
Right.
we're professional operators, but
Right.
that brand is what got us to where we're at today.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. This is a lot. This is deep.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't doubt it. It just gets this way because it's real. It's a real story. It really happened, and it's raw. And thank you for being so open and spending your time. I know you had a really busy weekend coming out here. You just went up on stage for probably 2 or 3 hours. Took the time to talk to everybody outside of that. All the contractors, and then went straight in this podcast, right? So I see that and I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for jumping
Well,
on.
I just love talking about and being involved in this business. It's what I love to do. And, I really love to help people succeed,
Right.
And I said this in the stage. Well, I guess I didn't go into this detail, so I'll say it now. I got to a point where I had, I was just had my last few dollars, right? And I was looking through a trade magazine one afternoon, and I saw the ACCA convention, and I didn't even know what ACCA was, ACCA.
Right.
And it said, mentorship and training and blah, blah, blah. And I just had enough to travel to San Antonio to go to that.
Yeah.
And so I said, well, my Hail Mary, what else do I got to do, right?
Right.
So I get on the plane, I go to San Antonio, I don't know the group, I don't know anybody there. And I'm sitting there like one of these young guys here today, and I sit next to a guy and we start talking, and I ask him some questions, and he helps me a little bit, gives me his phone number, we go to lunch, meet this guy, hey, meet these guys, and it was just a community that
Right.
was there to help each other succeed. And so, that's really how I built everything is, being involved in these groups, sharing ideas with other contractors, brainstorming with other contractors. It helps you build all this stuff that we have. And so now I'm just giving it back.
So when somebody tells
Yeah.
you can't do something, what is the reaction that you've had in your life to that?
I don't know why it is, but if you tell me I can't do something, I'm going to go do that something for some reason. If it's something I want to do or reasonable, but for some reason that's just a hot point with me. And I put this on Facebook the other day about my wife. So I'll tell the story real quick.
Okay.
So I'm, it's 1988, and I'm got my tech uniform on, with the snaps and with the patch with my company name on it. It's
Mullet.
dirty, and I got a mullet,
Right.
and I'm leaning against the counter at a supply house, and the guy's getting my parts, and my wife walks in, who was not my wife at the time. I didn't know her, and she was just a gorgeous woman walking in, young woman, mini skirt, the heels, just dressed to the nines. I'm like, what's she doing in an air conditioning supply? And I lean up, and the whole place stops to watch her walk by. And as she walks by, I tell the guy, I go, I'm gonna have that,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
right? And he goes, oh, you don't have a chance, blah, blah, blah.
Oh.
He's like, he's chuckling at me. And so, that thing snapped in me.
Yeah.
And I went, got the mullet cut off, got me some new pastel tech shirts, button down. They're
Wow.
called the executive shirts, and embroidered my company name on them.
Wow.
And then I started going to the gym, and I tightened up, and I would show up at that business every morning at 6:45, so I could be right there when she got out of her car, and I could say, good morning, Wendy. And because I was too shy to really talk to her, so I said good morning every day for a year. And then she was the credit manager, and I was usually on credit hold. So I would have to talk to her from time to time. I'd have to talk to her from time to time, and then one day she said, "Okay, well, if I release this order, then you have to take me to lunch." I'm like, bag the elephant.
Exactly.
Got
Yeah,
it.
that's
How
awesome.
times have changed since the,
Yeah.
the dating world, right?
Dating world.
Chivalry is dead.
Yeah, there wasn't any app for that, but
There was a for that.
yeah, but that's just how I am. You know,
Right.
you tell me you can't do something, and you know, that's one thing that's driven me in business. You know, when I hear somebody's done something bigger or better than I have in business, you know, I'm like, well, it's like the 4-minute mile, right? The guy, I don't remember his name, who ran the first 4-minute mile, you know, no one had come before him, but as soon as he did that, hundreds of people run the 4-minute
Right.
after, just shortly after, right?
Yeah.
And so when someone goes out and breaks the mold and proves it out, you know, that motivates me to, okay, well, now I can, if he can, I can, and I can do it better.
Well, you're a mold breaker.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that is
Absolutely.
awesome. Is it okay if I ask you one question that will definitely inspire our audience?
Sure.
Okay. So Ken, what made you inspire? Because we have seen this a huge transformation in your health. What was that inspiration moment that you completely changed in your health? And what was that?
Well, you know, when you're running a business, and this is another reason why I'm trying to get out here and trying to help as many people as I can, is because, you know, I know it. I know what it's like to run a business. It's all I've ever done. And, you know, sometimes you get so consumed by it, it takes over your life. You know, Michael Gerber in his books, you know, one of the quotes is, tragically wasted lives, you know, that sometimes people get so involved and so consumed by their businesses, they waste their life, right?
Right.
Because they're distracted on everything. So, you know, I've gotten that way several times in my career, and I just got so consumed in building Goettl and some of the other stuff I was doing that I just lost my way on taking care of myself and health and stuff. And I gained 100 pounds over time.
Wow.
And then I got to a point where I was sitting up late at night on the couch, looking at my phone or doing something unproductive, and a thought came over my head and that said, I don't know if I'm going to get up tomorrow. I'm not sure. I feel so bad. I don't know if I'm going to wake up tomorrow.
You smelled your own mortality in a way?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my God.
That's a life-changing experience. It's enough to jolt you into taking action, right? Is that moment?
It was.
Yeah.
And so then I had been getting ads on Facebook about business owners, you know, neglecting themselves, drinking too much, doing all this bad stuff, and this guy can help you. And this is, you know, this is about 2020, kind of during COVID. And so, like, I never buy anything on the internet. I'm that guy. Like, I just don't. But I've got people.
You got people. They can buy for you.
And other people buy stuff from me.
Right.
Yeah. But I never had personally keyed my credit card in for anything on the internet, right? So I'm just scrolling up, and I'm like, this guy's got a mohawk. He doesn't look like my kind of guy, but I'm taking a left turn. I'm just gonna, you know, pull off into the dirt, and I'm gonna go figure out what to do. Kind of like you scorch the earth,
Right.
you know, comment. And I just ordered it. And so it was a pretty simple system of some basic fundamentals that you run your life by. Like, you know, your day starts at 9 p.m. the night before, when you stop everything. You stop the electronics, and you stop the eating and drinking and everything. You stop it, and then you kind of wind down for an hour and get ready for bed. And you go to bed by 10,
Right.
and then you make sure you get up by 6. You have your 8 hours, and then you make sure you do some exercise, a little meditation maybe, and some journaling,
Mm-hmm.
and just plan your day out. And you look at your day plan, your week plan, and your life plan, and make
Right.
sure you're keeping that.
And it's a
in check.
lifestyle, and it's a lifestyle.
Yeah.
There is no cheat code out there for a few days. It's like every single day. It's a lifestyle, right?
Discipline,
Discipline.
consistency.
And it's hard. It's not. It sounds very simple, but it's all these little simple things are very hard. That said, if you just do that, if you just did that little what I just described,
Right.
and then went about your plan every day, you'll 10x whatever you're trying to do.
Because you're more capable, you're more clear, you're healthier,
Right.
you're hydrated, you have more energy, so you should be able to accomplish more in business.
Yeah, I call it you're living on purpose.
Living on
Mm.
purpose. Yeah, live that.
Yeah,
Living on
instead of
purpose.
going where the wind takes you. So it really came out of I just pushed myself to almost a breaking point, and I thankfully grabbed myself before it was too late, and I course corrected. And I was never a guy to go get surgeries and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And so I took that program and I started doing that every day. And then it was COVID time, and I got some earbuds and I walked
Wow.
to do all my business meetings.
Perfect.
And I walked off 100 pounds.
Congratulations
Wow.
on this journey. That's like amazing. Thank you for sharing with all
Yeah,
with all
it's
the listeners.
your
This is
personal life has everything to do with that, like you said, is like, and this is the stuff that people are daily struggling with, probably the most, and can't imagine that it's something that you would struggle with. So it's another way of letting them know that, hey,
We're
it's
all
like,
humans.
Right.
We're all humans.
And by the way, the whole empathy thing, interesting point in all this. Getting your head clear and getting to a healthier routine, getting yourself healthier. You don't understand how angry you are.
Until you see the other side.
Yeah.
Yes.
When
Love that.
you don't feel good.
Yeah.
You're just
Right.
angry. You're an angry person.
Right.
And so, the best outcome of this whole thing, I don't have to go into big and tall stores anymore, but that's good. But the biggest outcome is I just feel like a better person and a nicer person.
Nicer
Right.
person. Yeah.
The person I always knew I was, but I wasn't maybe acting that.
You have the hurdles in the way.
You just have to push yourself, right? Every single day.
Yeah, but a lot of people, how they start that is an influence, to be fair. It's like with me and everyday people, I think that in everyone's story, it's like this person influenced me to change direction. It was a person that interjected in their lives to influence them. So that's what you're doing for a lot of people on the first step, right?
Yeah, so the first step, like there's numerous guys who've lost, 50, 60, 70, 100 pounds
Yeah.
walking in the group. There's numerous guys who, had some serious health problems that they have thwarted because they had a better exercise routine.
Right.
A lot of people just are telling me now that they just feel better and they operate better to get their walk in every day.
Yeah, and they have the
Right.
accountability of the chat, because of course someone wants to put how many steps they did.
Right.
It's almost like a competitive, it's healthy competition
It's
in a
healthy
way.
Right.
Even if it's to impress somebody, the fact that they're doing it, it gets them to do it.
Yeah, I started like that, like, well, I got to be the big walker, and then I thought all I have to do is show up.
Right.
Like really, the big walks are not the win. The win is just showing up consistently.
Showing up consistently.
Okay.
I'm fortunate to be part of that your group, the first step, and it's so like encouraging to see everyone posting because they got inspired from you, and everyone is posting. Like it could be any exercise, like
Yeah.
walk or biking. That is like very inspiring.
I've never seen a bunch of guys from the trades
Right.
talk about exercising on a group. It's just it's nothing like I've ever seen before, or meditation or red light therapy.
Right.
And it's really cool to see. It's like you're taking care of themselves.
You know what my vision for the group would be though is that, and I have not been successful at this yet, but I will, is to kind of get my, big group of my Goettl team on that and walking, call center people, because they're sitting down all day.
Yes.
Maybe you get them out
Yeah.
and, kind of connect them with other call center people across the country and other brands, and kind of build this industry community
Right.
where it is.
Right.
Because I think that, like you mentioned earlier, our industry is really good about, owners sharing and helping each other succeed.
Right.
But I don't know if that flows down to the rank and file team members or not. And so just imagine if,
That's a really good point.
That's a good point. Yeah.
It goes to the other owners. It's all like froth at the top kind of thing, and it doesn't go down substantially to those smaller people that make up the company. But in a way, an example that I can think that you've already implemented that is you have a gym and a personal trainer, right? At Goettl for when they get injuries, right? And that is thinking ahead. That's real service. You're anticipating their needs before it happens. That's real care for these people.
Mhm.
And longevity. You don't want them to ruin their bodies
he's
doing
a
the
physical
job.
therapist.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Physical
he's
therapist, right.
invaluable. But my vision for the first step, though, is that we business owners get our people involved as well.
People involved.
And all of our team members involved, and kind of really promote better health through the trades.
Absolutely.
I think this is really going to empower people in the trades.
Well, I can commit to that at my company right now. Yeah, absolutely. This is something we actually have a gym at our office complex, a really nice gym. So what I could do is get everyone a membership to the gym and set a time and have it be a group activity or a group walk where everybody goes on like a mile walk kind of thing after lunchtime. Like it's a small amount of time to equate
Right.
to health and also to team building exercise, literally. type of
Right.
thing.
It is similar to what we have like in our company, because it's like all day sitting job and lay in front of computers. So we have like Slack, we use that. Like there is like fitness channel where we encourage our team members to post something every single day. And that actually got idea from the first step. And I created that fitness channel on Slack, and it's really encouraging seeing every single day. So thank you for the first step that you have taken.
Yeah. I also thought about, I'm sure, once we get some more meeting, I think we have about 650 members. I don't know how many are active, but really get some participation in it.
Yeah.
And then I'll go strong arm. I mean, influence the manufacturers
Yeah.
to like contribute, cents a mile, right? That the
Right.
whole team walks, that we can do something with.
An incentive?
Well, and with something we can do with to help our industry fellows, right?
Right.
Right.
Like scholarships.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Let's make the most use of it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
That's
let's,
genius,
scholarships for tradesmen.
Yeah.
Helping an injured tradesman, fellow tradesmen,
Love that.
something,
Love that.
something that gives us a purpose, right?
Right.
That's really sold me on participating in that group, because to get all of the meaning behind all of this, rather than we all walk and record our walking, that's my mistake. That's what I saw at first. But all of this, I'm completely sold, and now I definitely want to participate and not be selfish, because it's not. I didn't realize it's about everybody else kind of thing, and it helps people, right? So as long as it's about that, and it'll help me and hold me accountable. I think that's why I didn't do it, because I know if I start doing it, I want to keep putting it in there, because people will know that I'm not.
Well, for
really
you
consistent.
two that are vendors, right?
Yeah.
Somewhat of vendors, it's a way. Again, we're talking about this personal connection thing. It's a way for you to connect to owners,
Right.
and in a deeper level, right?
Absolutely.
You're not just trying to sell something to them.
Right.
Once
Right.
they, once they're around you, they get familiar with you, they gain trust. You know who
Right.
they're going to call.
Right.
You
It's
know,
it's
their
it's all,
workout buddy.
right.
Workout.
It's
Yeah.
all about like connecting deeper with them.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, it's so funny. We're gonna keep turning off the recording and turning
No,
it back on because
but it was good. I think really good content, and I think it's very organic that we got. And I think you were recording too.
A little bit.
But yeah, I think the first step was like really, you brought that up. Amazing content, I think.
Yeah, it moves slower than I wanted it to, but I don't know. We've been making some headway. I'm not going to stop though. I'll have call centers all around the U.S. walking
Oh,
and
yeah.
sharing.
That is
and,
going to be massive.
Yeah,
and maybe contests.
Contest,
yeah. I can't imagine what you're gonna. You always think like, okay, he's already done like the big, and then he tops it off, and then he tops it off, and surprises everybody, and you enjoy that, huh? Do you sense that about yourself? Do you know that about yourself, that that's how you're perceived by people, that you are the mold breaker in that sense, and you're bold?
Well, I don't know that I've ever heard that. I kind of looked at it like, if you just show up, who's that actor who said 80% of success is just showing up?
Do you want me to Google it?
Tom Cruise?
No,
Bradley Cooper.
no, he's like an older actor.
Oh,
The
He was married to Mia Farrow.
yes. Okay. I know what you're
AI.
talking. It's kind of bothering me.
AI. You can ask AI.
80%.
Woody Allen.
Woody
Yes.
Allen.
So
right,
Woody
right.
Allen, Woody Allen says 80% of success is just showing up, right?
Right.
And I just think I just keep showing up.
Mm,
I just show up and do some work, and it comes my way.
yeah, you're
right.
willing.
I,
Say yes.
sometimes I think about the places I've been and what I've accomplished. It's kind of like Forrest Gump.
Forrest
I
Gump.
don't know why. I don't know how I got here.
You know
but
what?
I'm
I've
here.
thought that about you before because it's the point of Forrest Gump. It's like it's so crazy that it's almost unbelievable, and you don't actually know if it happened or not. Of course you do, but it's so
Yeah, I agree.
insane. Yeah.
But Ken, there must be days when you feel demotivated. Something is going on, in the company, like HVAC, plumbing, or any business owner. They go through a lot of stuff. So how to stay motivated? Like there must be some time where you go off track. So what do you recommend if someone is going off track because it's a lot happening in the business in their lives?
You have to stick to that routine. A
You
routine.
don't stop in the first place.
You have to stick to a routine, and even the routine. I certainly have gotten off of the routine since I started, back in 2020. But I don't know. I just fight to get back on the routine. But when you get back on the track,
Right.
all that stuff seems to go away.
Mm.
Another thing is, like, I've gotten to the point now when I'm on my routine.
Right.
When I'm off from routine, it doesn't work. But when I'm on my routine, I just understand this. Life is challenges, and behind every challenge is a success, right?
Love it.
So I'm going to accomplish something.
Mhm.
So every day I just wake up, bring on the challenges. Let's get them behind us because I know I will. And now I'm very confident now that most everything you can throw at me, I'm going to get it by me. And so I'm like, okay, let's knock out the challenges because I know the reward is right behind them.
Right.
Right. So you
Right.
get less and less scared with experience and the courage to walk through those every single day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so, you condition yourself to understand that. All I got to do is break through this block wall, and
Right.
then my prize is behind it.
Yeah.
Right.
And I have this spoon. I have this little spoon and this bigger rock that I can bang on, and I got to figure it out.
Right.
Right. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing. This is gold.
Yeah.
This is
Of
gold.
course. It's the gold rush. So
Gold.
the real gold rush here.
Right, right. And thank you for being part of True Grit 2023. And if you want to share, what do you think about True Grit?
I think it was an excellent program, and I guess my biggest takeaway from the thing is that all the answers are right here, right? It's all
That is
here. And so all you really have to do is sign up and do the work, right?
Yeah.
There's many best practices in the industry, best practice groups in the industry. Some are very well proven out. There's best practice groups that every one of the top 10 largest contractors in the U.S.
Yes.
have been part of, right?
Right.
So I think it's important that everybody rallies around the fact that you got to continue your education, you got to continue to be curious, and part of your daily work is to become educated.
Right. And give the service to your people of education. To give them the tools, not to yell at them for their performance without giving them the tools, but to hand them the tools and then watch the performance after that.
Exactly. Very well put.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, awesome.
Thank you so much
Definitely
for.
went over 15, but it just.
I know.
Sorry.
Sorry. Like
Hope you can
we
make
were
it
thinking about
plan.
15 minutes, but that has like organic, raw content. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so
for
much.
coming out.